For decades, the idea of living in space colonies has been relegated to the realm of science fiction, distant dreams of humanity reaching for the stars. But what if I told you that the concept isn't just feasible, but that detailed, astonishingly advanced plans for self-sustaining orbital habitats have existed for far longer than you might think? Plans hidden in plain sight, suppressed by forces afraid of what humanity truly capable of in the cosmos. To understand this profound mystery, we must first journey back to the seemingly optimistic era of the 1970s. The Apollo program had planted flags on the moon, and the future of space exploration felt limitless. It was in this fertile ground that physicist Gerard K. a visionary from Princeton University, began to seriously propose massive, rotating space habitats, O'Neill cylinders, capable of housing millions of people. These weren't pipe dreams. They were meticulously engineered concepts backed by serious scientific inquiry. He envisioned entire cities, complete with artificial gravity, breathable atmospheres, and agricultural zones designed to mimic Earth's ecosystems, all orbiting our planet in perfect harmony. The designs were groundbreaking, detailed down to the climate control systems and even the aesthetics of their internal landscapes, which he imagined as vibrant, green havens bathed in simulated sunlight. O'Neill's work wasn't just theoretical, it captivated the public imagination and garnered significant support from NASA itself. Conferences were held, papers were published, and the notion of humanity becoming a multi-planetary species seemed not only possible but imminent. What followed, however, wasn't a ramp-up in construction, but a perplexing, almost deliberate retreat. Funding for such ambitious projects dwindled, public interest was subtly redirected, and the revolutionary concept of self-sufficient space colonies began to fade from the headlines, replaced by less ambitious, more manageable goals like the Space Shuttle program and the International Space Station, both undeniably important, yet utterly devoid of the grand, visionary scope of O'Neill's designs. Why this sudden, inexplicable shift? Why did the world turn its back on what seemed to be humanity's next logical step? The official narrative cites budget constraints, political shifts, and a return to earthly priorities. But beneath the surface, a more unsettling truth began to stir. The initial enthusiasm for space colonies in the 70s was overwhelming. Imagine literally building new worlds. O'Neill's designs, particularly the 8-kilometer-long cylinders, were not mere sketches. They included intricate details for radiation shielding using lunar regolith, elaborate systems for closed-loop ecosystems, and even proposals for manufacturing facilities that would make the colonies self-replicating. NASA even commissioned summer studies, bringing together scientists, engineers, and architects to flesh out these concepts. Public outreach was massive. News articles, documentaries, even children's books depicted vibrant, thriving communities floating in Earth orbit. There was a genuine belief that within decades, humanity could escape the confines of a single planet. But then, almost as if a switch had been flipped, the conversation changed. The space agency, once a vocal proponent, started quietly downplaying the feasibility, emphasizing the immense cost and technical challenges. Academic papers shifted from enthusiastic exploration to cautionary tales. Funding, once readily available for preliminary studies, evaporated. The very idea of independent, self-sustaining habitats began to morph in the public consciousness from a grand aspiration into a quaint, unrealistic sci-fi trope. This wasn't merely a natural ebb and flow of scientific interest. It felt orchestrated. Documents later declassified and meticulously analyzed by independent researchers reveal a distinct pivot in government policy and strategic communications. Suddenly, the focus was less on expansion and more on control, on maintaining Earth-centric power structures. It was as if certain powerful entities recognized the disruptive potential of independent, spacefaring civilizations. Civilizations that wouldn't be beholden to terrestrial governments or corporate interests. The ability to mine asteroids for unlimited resources, to create their own economies, to develop entirely new forms of governance, presented an existential threat to the established order down below. These nascent off-world communities would represent true freedom, a dangerous precedent for those who benefit from scarcity and control. What if the technologies developed for building these colonies, Advanced life support, sustainable energy, asteroid mining were too empowering, too liberatory for the average citizen? What if access to infinite resources meant the end of scarcity-driven economies? The questions alone were enough to send shivers down the spines of those who held the reins of power. It appears the dream was not just deferred, it was actively suppressed. The narrative spun was that space was too expensive, too dangerous for permanent habitation, a narrative designed to keep humanity firmly rooted to its home planet, under observation and control. Now here's where the story takes a truly chilling turn. While the public narrative shifted away from space colonies, whispers persisted. Leaked documents and credible whistleblowers, individuals who once worked within the shadows of deeply classified programs, suggest that the research didn't just stop, it went underground. While NASA focused on orbiting labs and shuttle missions, private conglomerates, often with deep ties to military-industrial complexes, continued to pour resources into advanced propulsion, closed-loop life support, and resource extraction robotics. The projects became black projects, shielded by layers of secrecy and national security classifications. These aren't the public-facing Musk or Bezos ventures. We're talking about unacknowledged special access programs so deep, so compartmentalized, that even high-ranking government officials were reportedly unaware of their full scope. Sources hint at breakthroughs in propulsion systems that drastically reduce travel times and costs, and advanced manufacturing techniques that utilize in situ resources to construct large structures in orbit with unprecedented efficiency. The implications are staggering. If such capabilities have been secretly refined over decades, then the means to construct large-scale space habitats already exists, and has likely existed for years, if not decades. But why the secrecy? If humanity truly had the capacity to build new worlds, why keep it from us? The answer, according to these unsettling disclosures, lies in power. Imagine a scenario where a corporate entity or a clandestine group has achieved the ability to develop self-sustaining off-world outposts, independent of Earth's geopolitical struggles, its resources, and its rules. Such a group would possess unparalleled economic and strategic advantages. They could control vital resources from the asteroid belt, establish virtually undetectable military or scientific bases, and operate beyond the reach of any terrestrial law. This isn't just about wealth, it's about absolute unchecked sovereignty. Some suggest these hidden projects have already progressed far beyond mere feasibility studies. There are tantalizing reports, heavily redacted and difficult to verify, of potential proto-colonies or highly advanced research stations already operational in deep space, test beds for true independence. The floating space colonies are not a future hope. They are a present, hidden reality. The true goal of some among us is not just to reach the stars, but to escape Earth's limitations, not necessarily for the benefit of all humanity, but for the selective few who have the funding, the foresight, and the ruthlessness to do so in secret. The next step is not colonization, it's secession. They don't want us to know, because if we knew the true extent of our collective technological capability in the secretive projects already underway, it would shatter the carefully constructed narratives that keep us tied to this planet, to its struggles, and to the powers that benefit from our limited horizons. So what does this mean for us? For the average person looking up at the night sky, still dreaming of humanity's future among the stars? It means the true frontier isn't out there. It's right here in the struggle to uncover the truth. The official narrative, curated for public consumption, has kept us from even contemplating our true potential. The dream of floating space colonies, once a beacon of hope for an expanding civilization, has been weaponized, privatized, and locked away by those who fear empowering the masses with the knowledge of true freedom and limitless resources. To this day, we may never fully know the extent of these hidden projects, or the ultimate designs of those who orchestrate them in the shadows. But one thing is clear: the most profound secret about space isn't what exists among the stars, but what we've already quietly built, and who controls the key. The question remains, can humanity ever truly break free and claim its rightful place among the cosmos? Or are we destined to remain unwitting participants in a cosmic chess game, played by forces far beyond our understanding? The universe beckons, but the chains that bind us may be far more terrestrial than we ever imagined. If you want more unsettling truths about the universe and the secrets hidden within, consider exploring the hidden history of breakaway civilizations, a concept that perhaps isn't so fictional after all.